Hey, welcome to Red Wagon Videos, and today we're going to be talking about video and the importance of it in your business. That there's any tool that is underutilized or not really understood in business, it's going to be video. And I mean, by far, this is the number one thing that you should be thinking about as far as new tools that you could be exploring. And I like to compare video to the typewriter. And really, in many ways, it has the same parallels in history just 100 years later. Let me just draw this out for you and explain what I'm talking about. And I think you'll see some additional value to video, and it'll make a little more sense. So, if you look back to when the typewriter was first invented, or at least the one that we recognize, there were so many different versions. But in the late 1860s, the first commercial typewriter was introduced. If you think about in our world, the video camera, or the ability to capture video on something more than just film, was introduced in the 1960s/70s, became more mainstream. And in the late 1860s, very few people knew how to use a typewriter. But over time, as you moved into the next century, you got into the teens and the 20s of the 1910s, 1920s, many people learned to type. In fact, it was a differentiator, or there was a huge value if you knew how to type. And now, not everybody knew how to do it, and people could, sit at a typewriter, and obviously, just like today, if you put a child on a typewriter, they can find the numbers and the letters, and they can peck out a letter, or they can peck out a note. But the reality is that the ability to type, or learning how to type, was a skill that everybody eventually had to develop. And over time, the better you were at typing, the more successful you could be in business. Well, I would make the same argument with video. We have video everywhere now, just like by the 20s and the 30s, there were typewriters everywhere, but not everybody uses it or uses it effectively. And more importantly, very few people in our business are trained to use it effectively. I want to just compel you, or I want to encourage you to use video more. I think it's just not used anywhere near as much as it could, and it's a differentiator as we move into our own 20s. As we move into the 2020s, you're going to see video show up more and more. And the individuals, not necessarily the business, but the individuals that can use video are going to have a real advantage. And if you are a smaller business, the more individuals in your business that can use it will give you the advantage. Now, let's talk about where and how you should be using video. There are really three ways I'd encourage all businesses use videos, but especially startups and scale-ups. The first thing is in your communication. You must use video in communication. Too often I see people are still using conference calls or phone calls to communicate things, when they have either GoToMeeting or WebEx, or what I prefer, Zoom, available and ready to use, and they already paid for an unlimited license. Why wouldn't you go full duplex on the video? You can see the person, you can know at some level know what they're thinking, because so much communication is non-verbal, of course, and that gives you an advantage, but it also gives the person you're communicating to an advantage as well. They can see what you're communicating without having to hear the words. So critical. So that's the first thing. Communication in and outside of your business should always be done with video. You should insist on that. The second way of the three ways is you've got to be doing more sales and marketing using video. Now, sales is easy. Shoot an advertisement, put video out on your Instagram feed or Facebook feed, whatever it is that you're doing for your sales. But marketing is where it becomes pretty critical, because too often you have individuals in your business who have amazing ideas and thoughts, and they have all this intelligence locked up inside of them. And sure, they could write an article or a blog post, and I would encourage that. That thought leadership is so critical. But as we move into the 20s, very few people are going to watch that. And we know that. We see marketing people tell us every day, you need transcribed videos on your LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever. Why are we not doing that? And more importantly, why are we not encouraging our thought leaders inside of our business to make these videos. That's so critical. Please get out there, get your thought leaders, get everybody in your business making videos. It will make a difference. And the third thing in my 3 ways you should be using video more is around archiving. You know, this is something I don't think most people even thought of, and it's a critical part of your business. You hold meetings every day that you're not recording. Sure, people are taking notes in their notepad or typing away on their computer. You know, they're maybe making mental notes, which are all great things. But the reality is, for a very cost-effective or nearly free investment, not investment, but for nearly free because you have the equipment there. Video is everywhere. It's on your computers, it's attached to your monitors. Many times you have video cameras attached to the TVs in your conference rooms. All these meetings could be recorded. Now, beyond just recording them, once they're archived, you can also have them transcribed, and then now some of the things that were said can be searched and can be cataloged. How many ideas come up in a meeting that you forget to implement? Or you think back on a meeting, oh, what did we say? What did we decide? What was the discussion that went around it? What led us to that decision? So my third and final way you should be using video, and is the one that most people don't think of, you gotta be using it around archiving your meetings, because so much goodness comes out of those meetings that you're not recording. And the companies over the next 5 to 10 years who can capture that thinking and record it, not just on paper, not just on notes on someone's computer, not just mentally, but they can record it in a way that's indexed and searchable, those companies are going to have a leg up or an advantage on all other companies. So those are 3 ways. Number 1, you got to be using it in communication. Number 2, you need to be using it around your sales and specifically marketing, so critical marketing. And then finally, you should really be archiving most of it, or not, if not all your meetings. And if you're worried about what's said in those meetings, maybe it shouldn't be said. All right, finally, as you're doing this, a few tips you gotta be thinking about as you're doing videos. First thing is train your people, right? You know, I've shot a lot of videos, and in my last business, I did almost weekly videos. And I'm okay. And as you watch this video, you're like, oh, you're not okay, Wade, you're kind of crappy. But, you know, I do an okay job. But I even could use a lot of training, not just a little. And so just imagine the people in your business, they could use some training as well. So get training for your staff on how to use video. Now, arguably, this is a very new area of business. There's not going to be a lot of people out there doing training on how to have your staff use video more. So you may have to create some of this training, or you may even have to get creative and find things that weren't intended for business, but will help your people to get more comfortable and better at making video. Just like you had to train, or not we, 100 years ago, people had to train their staff or their students on how to type, and we still train people on how to do that today. Nobody leaves school without knowing how to type. That would be crazy. We need to train our people on how to use video. Now, second tip. First tip, train your people. Second tip, there is a great solution from Microsoft, and I'm confident there are other ones out there, but this is the one I'm familiar with, and I love it. And it's Microsoft Stream. It's their new video service. Not only can you post all your videos up there for people to see, it has security around it, so you can make sure you secure it inside your corporate infrastructure, and it has transcribing built in. So Microsoft Stream, as you post these videos from your meetings and you make them available, it will also grab that content, and then you can then take that content into another solution and make it searchable, so that you've got all this great information, all these ideas, all these decisions indexed for future reference. And then the final tip is work with a professional. You would never imagine starting off typing on your own and teaching yourself how to type. In fact, the system for typing is very complex, and it's something someone else needs to teach you. The system for video is also very complex. Now, there are tons of tutorials out there. There are many video organizations. I work with one, and I love it. You know, it's 413. It's a great organization. I'd recommend you talk to them. But either way, go work with an organization that specializes in shooting videos to get this off the ground, and have them contracted so you're shooting more videos and you're communicating more video. And by all means, go sign up with Zoom or or Microsoft Stream to get one of those solutions. So again, the 3 tips: train your people, use Microsoft Stream and solutions like that, and make sure you work with a professional. I hope this has helped you, and I hope I've convinced you to use video more. I'm telling you, you're going to look back and you're going to absolutely see the parallels between the typewriter and video. The reality is that the video is the typewriter of this century, and you've got to be using it. Have a great day.